Hello, this is Patrick McNeil with DesignMeltdown.com for the first ever screencast. One of the things I mentioned in a recent blog post was that there were things I always wanted to do with the site that I just never had time to do, and this is actually one of those things. I always thought it was a great idea to capture certain topics with video as opposed to just screenshots because certain elements of it just can't be captured and or that would require multiple screenshots. So drop-down menus are one of those topics, and that is what I'm going to cover today. So let's just jump right in, and I think you'll get the idea of what I'm looking for. So we'll start with the most basic of versions, Clarity Systems. And as usual, these screenshots and links will be posted on the article, so you can get the full details there. So let's just zip through these different menus. This is your pretty straightforward drop-down menu. It's nicely styled, of course. It's got submenus. Nothing too dramatic here. Just kind of a starting point for the type of menu that we've all seen a million times. One nice thing they've accomplished is getting the drop-down menu to function properly over the Flash movie, which I know from experience can be a royal pain in the derriere. So, yeah, basic menu. And here is another essentially a basic menu. In this case, the menus drop in kind of a fun way, which just makes them, I don't know, just a little more interesting. I guess it somehow associates maybe the menu with where it came from. Just kind of a nice touch, not entirely necessary, I suppose. Here's another basic one with a little bit of branding to the menus. One thing I really liked about this one is that the background and the borders are all kind of texturized to match the rest of the site, and so it just kind of shows that even though these are text-based, and obviously it's not all imagery, just shows that you can really effectively style your menu to match your site, even if it is data-driven in this case. So yeah, I think that's just something to keep in mind. This site has a little variation on the drop-down menu, which you'll see here in a second. It's just basically cross-site navigation. This links to other sites that they have to offer. And I just think it's great how they implemented that. It's at the top, so it's a pretty prominent way to jump around between sites, and yet when they're not open, they take up very little space. I mean, it can't be more than 20 pixels or something. So, but then when they pop up, you get a nice icon, fully branded to match whatever site it is that it's pointing to. So I think that's a pretty clever usage of the device. This site has a pretty cool style to it. The shiny style is always appealing, of course. And actually, in this case, it reminds me a little bit of the previous version of Amazon, in that the drop-down menu is just ridiculously huge. And I'm not opposed to this, actually. I think it's pretty cool because they've managed to pack all that navigation into this one tiny little element. Also like how they change colors. It's kind of a nice touch to effectively link the contents to the menu item. I think this is great just because, sure, we get the, like in the crafts one, for example, you get the major sections over here, but if you go up here, you can also jump to the more specific location. So I think it's just a little more direct navigation in this case, and I think that's a cool feature. Let's look at Amazon's current site just for a reference. Now up here, they have these links with a drop-down menu that are actually pretty nicely styled. It's like a whole little window there. It's not just a plain old list. It's got titles and little sections. So they've put a lot more. I mean, this one, for crying out loud, has a search box in it. So they've made pretty powerful drop-down menus. Now they also have this side menu here, which pops in, and I really like how they've unified the pop-out part with the section that it comes from. It really helps to highlight what you're looking at, because sometimes it's tempting just to have those hanging off the side, and but in this case you can see how they're really effectively unified. Another example of a side-based menu is this site here, and as you come over some of these sections, you can see how they pop in. Particularly like the little arrow effect. It's kind of like what you'd see on a map. It's as though these sections obviously all are contained within that menu item, and so it's great to see kind of a visual representation of that. One thing they did particularly well is on where is it? One of these has a ton of items. Yeah, this one. So rather than just having one really long vertical menu, they've managed to make this into a 2-column menu, which is pretty clever, because if you've seen menus like this that go on forever, it becomes really hard to roll in, and then depending on your screen size or where you're at, that can be a real difficulty. So this keeps it to a reasonable height, which is a great feature, and they thought it through, which is pretty impressive. This site here, Twist Image, has a flash-based menu, which is pretty cool. When you roll over it, instead of dropping down or up, it kind of drops right into the middle. So you get the kind of the inverse effect there. But I think it's nice. The tabs themselves are nice and huge, so when you mouse over any part of that, you get the menu. Just kind of a clever change on the same old thing, which is kind of cool. And here we go, another drop-down menu. This one, when you open them, they stay open, which is kind of a strange twist, I suppose, but all the same, it still works. You can see once you've gone to a section, they manage to just have that section fall back in, so that you not only remember where you're at, but you see the other options for that specific section. Pretty cool. Finally, this is the last sample, and it's Andy Martin's site. And if you look through this, you get kind of a strange combination of vertical and horizontal navigation, which thing I particularly like is that it, instead of having text to tell you what these various sub elements are going to be, you get an image, which just makes perfect sense. It's a portfolio, so why not just show an image, right? So this concludes the review of drop-down menus, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and hopefully I'll do more if you guys like it and want me to keep doing these.